Te rohi atu nei, ka wheturangi tia Matariki, nā whetu o te tau. Matariki, nā whetu o te tau. If you got up really, really early, which your parents wouldn't like, but it's cool, and there was no clouds in the sky, and you look to where the sun usually comes up, you might see the stars of Matariki. And when you see them at this time of the year, because you can see them at other times of the year, but this story is why it's so important today. Over the last 3 days, 13th, 14th, and today the 15th, the last day. We're having two stories. One is very old, and one matters for us today. In the beginning, there was te kore, nothing. And then there was te pō uri uri, te pō tango tango, the night. Everything was black, dark. And in the darkness and in the night, there were two great beings. Tāramainuku, the earth mother, and Ranginui, the sky father. And they loved each other so much. They hung on there together, they lay there in the darkness, and their love was so big, they didn't want to ever let go. They just wanted to stay there, lying in the darkness, holding on tight. And as some of the adults know, you will not be surprised, there were lots of tamariki. The tamariki lived between Sky Father Ranginui and Tāramainuku, Earth Mother. And they were curled up when they were little. It was really lovely, all curled up there together. But as they got bigger, they started to stretch. They were cramped between those parents. Now, you might have people in your family like this, teenagers. They may not want to stay home. They want to go out. They want to go out and have jobs. Well, that was how these children felt. They were getting bigger and they wanted to go out, but they couldn't. There they were in the darkness, safe, but they wanted things to change. And one of their children is really remembered here at Zealandia, Tāne Mahuta. And Tāne Mahuta, to cut a very long story short, put his great big shoulders against his mother, Tāramainuku, and his feet and his big rugby thighs he put up against his father, Ranginui, and he pushed the father right up to become Ranginui above us and Tāramainuku below. And the tamariki said, "Choice, look at all this room." And they got up and they were moving around. They were really happy. But it was very, very dark. Said Tāne Mahuta, "I need some light." He had a brother and his name was Tango Tango. And Tango Tango was he was about the dark. He was about the night, but he also had light inside him. And his wife, her name was Wainui, and she was the ocean woman. And she had in her all the light that you see that dances across the ocean. And together, they had these really bright kids. And their names were Te Whānau Marama. So, Tāne Mahuta thought he'd go and see his brother. Now, I don't know how you guys all are with your brothers and sisters. Hands up sometimes if you have an argument with your brother and your sister. Right. Hands down. So I think we understand it. Although we love our whānau, sometimes we can just get a bit offside with them. And so Tango Tango had built a house for his wife and children. And he was sitting outside it with Wainui, and he saw his brother, Tāne Mahuta, coming to see him. And Tāne Mahuta was striding along, and Tango Tango said, "E ki, titiro atu Wainui, kei te hara mai a Tāne Mahuta, wonder what he wants." And his wife said, "E ki, Tango Tango, that's your brother. You be welcoming to him. And so Tango Tango called out, Kia ora tāne mahuta, no mai haramai, pai ki te kite o a koi haramai. Kia ora korua, said Tāne mahuta, pai ki te kite koi, good to see you guys. Got a problem, brother. Now we've got this beautiful new world, it's a little bit dark. And I wondered, you've got that house full of those beautiful, very bright tamariki. Do you think you would give me one of your tamariki so I could take a tamariki to live in the sky with our father, Ranginui, and maybe light up the world? Now, Tango Tango didn't know about that. But Wainui, his wife, said, that would be a good idea. It is very dark. And we do have a very full house of children. So she turned around and she called, Hinatori, haramai. And out of the house came Hinatori. She was a bit whakamā. Who thinks they know what whakamā might mean? Yes. Sorry? Not so much frightened, because she knew her uncle, shy. She was a bit shy, and her light was shy. She just had a very gentle light. And Tāne mahuta said to her, Kia ora Hinatori, come along, you're going to light up the world. And he took Hinatori and he placed her up in the sky with her grandfather. But she was shy, and her light was shy. If you wanted to see light like this, you might come to Zealandia one night on one of the night walks, and you might see the glowworms here. And if you see those glowworms, that's the light that Hinatori had. It's called phosphorescent light, and it's very gentle. Would that be enough to light up the world? No, it wasn't. So Tāne mahuta had to go back and see his brother again. Kia ora tango tango, kia ora wainui. Oh, Hinatori's very lovely, but she's not very bright. And I think she must be pretty lonely up there. And I just wondered, would you give me some more of your children to light up the sky? And Tango Tango stood up and he saw Hinatori and he saw that her light was very gentle, and he said, I can see what you mean. It's very dark up there. So he decided he would give Tāne mahuta his children ngā whetū. I'm just going to ask at this point, does anybody know what ngā whetū are? Yes. Stars. There were heaps of them. They had all these star children. So many that Tāne mahuta had to go and get kete, and the star children came out and he put them, filled up his kete with them. And one kete was filled with very special stars. There was a whole lot of them, and they were the stars of Matariki. And Matariki went into one of the kete, and Tāne mahuta took them and he threw them across the sky. Now, this is what it was like before, but once he'd thrown it across the sky, this is how the sky looked. And it looked beautiful because there were stars everywhere. And Tango Tango and his wife Wainui, they looked up at all their children. And you know, parents like to be proud of their children. We all like it when our kids do good things. And when they looked, they said, oh, look, Aotearoa, look at our lovely children sparkling up there. And Ranginui looked beautiful. Before he'd been so dark, and now he had all these sparkling children. It was just lovely. But if you went outside in the night, there was no light but the starlight, would you be able to read a book? Would you be able to see very clearly? No. So although it looked beautiful, it still wasn't light enough. So Tāne mahuta knew he was going to have to go back and ask Tango Tango and Wainui for another child, somebody brighter. And he knew they wouldn't want to, and then he came up, he thought he had a good reason for it. So he went to see them. And this time, Tango Tango didn't call out a welcome. He said, ki, kei te hoki mai koe anō. What is it you want this time? You've taken so many of our children already. E tango tango, said Tāne Mahuta. Brother, look at your lovely star children. Have you watched what they sometimes get up to up there? They neck each other, and sometimes one of them falls out of the sky. They're always doing that. They need somebody older to keep an eye on them. Have you got an older child? Maybe someone a bit brighter who could go up there and keep an eye on them. And they did. Does anybody here think who they might think who that child could be? The moon. Marama. Excellent. And so, tango, and Wainui called out Marama. Marama, haramai. And Marama came out. Shh, and she was beautiful and powerful, and the light went everywhere. And when Tāne Mahuta saw, he said, oh, ka pai Marama, haramai. You're going to go up in the sky and keep an eye on all those stars, your brothers and sisters, because they're always arguing and some of them fall out of the sky. It'll be great. And he put Marama up in the sky and she shone down. Now, if you go outside in the middle of the night and there's a great big full moon, you can see things, can't you? You could see your way. You might be able to make your way down a path like this. Could you read a book? Would it be enough to read a book? No. Even though it was lighter, there were lots of lights now, it was still not light enough. Tāne Mahuta knew he was going to have to go and ask for another child. Who's this child? The sun. But when Tango saw him coming, he was so cross that he was asking for more children, he called out to him, ki te au ia koe, Tāne Mahuta, I know who you've come from. You want our eldest, you want Tamanui Te Rā. Well, here, have him. And he called round, haramai Tamanui Te Rā, and he picked Tamanui Te Rā up and he threw him at Tāne Mahuta. Now, Tāne Mahuta was so pleased because when he saw Tamanui Te Rā, there was just light everywhere. And he reached up to catch him. Oh, he was so hot. He couldn't, and he threw him up high straight away, up into the air. And Tamanui Te Rā went straight up, went past Marama and Ngā Whetū. They called out, kia ora, Tamanui Te Rā, haramai, over here. But he went right up, past his grandfather Ranginui, and went right over and landed on the back of Ranginui, the Sky Father. And when he got up, he said, here, Ki, where is everybody? Where's Ngā Whetū and Marama? They're not here. I better go look for them. And he started off to go and look for them. Now, on the other side of Ranginui, Marama, Ngā Whetū, Hinatori, they'd seen him gone past. They didn't know where he'd gone. Oh, no, said Marama, because she was a sister, and sisters look after brothers. And she said, oh, no, where's he gone? Come on, Ngā Whetū, we better go find him. So she started off to go and look for him. Now, she went this way. Tamanui Te Rā went that way. And they started going round and round Ranginui. So they weren't really catching up. When Tamanui Te Rā was in the front, it was the day. When he went to look for them round the back and they were in the front, it was the night. Hands up, who's ever seen a day where Tamanui Te Rā the sun and Marama the moon are both in the sky? Yes. Sometimes she catches up with him. She comes to the sky to say, is he all right? And there's a legend I'm not going to tell you today of how Tamanui Te Rā actually didn't have to be alone anymore. He got some wives. But that's another story. It's daytime right now, but this is the second part of the story. Here are the stars of Matariki. It's a picture of them. It's It's not really them, it's just a picture. If you got up early and you saw the stars of Matariki coming, or you see them in the night, it's lovely. But what you might not know is that when they were put up in the sky, the stars of Matariki were put right at the front of a great big waka. Who knows what a waka is? Yes. Yes. A boat. A big waka canoe. And at the front is Matariki. And on that canoe is Taramainuku, the captain. And he has a great net. And he sails that waka every day and night. That waka sails across the sky here. It sails over, and we can tell. If you looked up in the night, you wouldn't be able to see the waka, but you could see Matariki, and you know that's the front. And you know that in the dark, there stands Taramainuku. And Taramainuku has a great big net. And as he travels across the sky, he's looking down. And he's listening. He's listening to see if he can hear anybody crying. Because if he can hear somebody crying, he knows that somebody has probably died, and he gets his net ready. Because every day, all over the world, people die. And when they die, Taramainuku takes his net and he scoops up their spirits and he puts them in his waka at the back, with Matariki at the front and the spirits at the back, the wairua, and they travel across the sky. And the people who are crying, they look up at the sky and they see the stars and they think of the people they've lost who they loved, and they think of them travelling across the sky in the waka of Taramainuku. Now, about a month ago, that waka, travelling across the sky, turned on its side, and it's actually, I think I'm back to front with my directions. That's west, isn't it? West here? Right, so the other way, so the waka comes from the east over to the west. It turns and it's set, and all the spirits of the people who have died over the last year sank down behind the horizon and were disappeared. And Matariki wasn't in the sky. Nobody could see Matariki. They knew that the waka orangi, Taramainuku's big waka, had gone, and they thought of all those people. They were so sad. Hands up here, anybody here who might have lost somebody they love died this year. If some of you have had that, yes, it's very sad. And people can get quite sad. And so Matariki, the time of Matariki, is when we stop and we think of people who might have died. Yes. And that would be so sad. And so people are sad, and they get up in the morning really early and they look to the east. And they wait for the time when Matariki is going to rise up and the waka's coming back again. And when the stars come up, they know Matariki has returned, and so has Te Waka Orangi. And here comes Taramainuku in that waka, and he takes his big net and he takes the spirits of all the people who died and he throws them across the sky. So if they want to, they can go and become stars. And some of them might go to other places, and some of them might become stars. And that's why, at the time of Matariki, people will start to cry for people they've lost in the last year. They'll have a little cry, and then they'll know they're up there in the sky, and they'll think of them. And then after they've had a cry, they'll have a celebration because it's a brand new year. And that's what's just happened here in Aotearoa. The waka has come up in the sky. We've seen it come back. We've had a tangi for the people who died. We've seen that they've gone to become stars, and now's the time for the celebration. So we come to Zealandia for storytelling. You might have really nice kai at your house. You might like to do things with your whānau. And the stars of Matariki will now be back in the sky so you can see them. Te rohi atu nei, ka wheturangi tia Matariki, nā whetu o te tau. Matariki, nā whetu o te tau. Can you show me 9 fingers? That's right, 9 fingers. That's how many stars people might be able to see of all the stars of Matariki. There's heaps. 9. That's right. Now, they all have a name. And this has been a long story, and you're thinking, I'm only a child. How am I going to remember all the names of the stars of Matariki? And your parents are thinking, oh my gosh, she hasn't given me any paper with it written down. How am I going to remember the names of all the children of Matariki? And a good way to remember is with a song. So come here. I'm just going to give you a little star to hold. And who feels like they're a big mother type person? Right, come along, you can be Matariki. Might give you a big one. Okay, this star is called Hiwa i te rangi. This is a star that's very special at this time because Hiwa i te rangi is the wishing star. And if you wanted to make a wish, you'd look for Hiwa i te rangi and you'd wish what you want for the new year. And Hiwa i te rangi would hear your wish and then she would help it come true. So we've got the fire and we've got Hiwa i te rangi. We also have Punarangi, which is the star that has to do with water. All the water stars. Would you like to be a water star? Come on along. Okay. Goodness, we've got lots of women. There we go. Right. So, Matariki te whaia. Right. And we've got... Right. Who likes to grow things? You're into growing, are you? How about we bring you and this person here, those two, come up. Right, so we've got Tupuanuku and Tupuarangi. So Tupuanuku is about people who like to grow food from the ground, looking at the star that will tell us if we'll have good crops. This one is the star Tupuarangi that tells us about food that we might gather from the air, like if you were catching birds. Would you be allowed to come to Zealandia and catch their birds for your kai? No, but in the old days, people didn't have a countdown or a pack and save. They had to go and catch their own kai. So this would have been a very important star to look out for. We're going to think about the kai that we get from the sea and the kai that we get from the rivers. So we've got YT and Waita, clear water and salt water. So who likes to go fishing? You like to go fishing. And well, how about you two come up? And you can come up too. So YT and Waita. So we'll have people who are eeling and we'll have people who are going out to get on the sea. Right, this is the star Pahutakawa that people look at when they think of people who have died. Is there anybody who feels that they would be strong enough to be, oh goodness, okay, right, Pahuta. Here we go. You might end up working for the funeral directors when you get older. How's that? There we go. So we're going to put you in order. Matariki te whaia. Over this way. Matariki te whaia. Tupuanuku. Tupuarangi. Do we have somebody who was the rain and all the raining one? I don't think we had anyone who's Waipunarangi. Would you like to come and be the rain star? So Waipunarangi is the one that they used to look at to see what was happening with whether the weather would be coming. So we've got Matariki, Tupuanuku, Tupuarangi, Waipunarangi. Where were the two that were about the fishing? YT, Waita. That's you two. We'll move you down here, darling. Why? YT, Waita. Now, did we have someone who was the wind? Maybe I'll make you the wind. You come and be the wind and you go and back and be the water. There we go. That's right. And you're Hiwa i te rangi, the wishing star, and Pōhutakawa. Right, now I'm going to go over and we'll do your names properly. We've got enough people. Right. Let's say Matariki, Te Whaia. So she's the mother star. Right. Tupuanuku, Tupuarangi. So Tupuanuku is going to look after the food from the land, and Tupuarangi is going to make sure we get kai from the from hunting in the sky and that. Right. Waipunarangi. So Waipunarangi is the star that's going to tell us that we're going to have enough rain. You should go and stay in Auckland because they would like you very much at the moment. Waipunarangi. Waiti Waita. So Waiti is the clear water and Waita is the water of the sea. And that would, if we looked at those stars, they might tell us what sort of food we'd get from that. Ururangi. Now Ururangi was the winds, so we would be able to see if we're going to get a lot of storms coming this year if we looked and you were very bright. So Ururangi. Hiwa Iterangi. Sorry. Hiwa Iterangi. And can you remember what we would ask from Hiwi Te Rangi? Wishing. We would ask Hiwi Te Rangi to give us our wishes, and Pōhu Te Kawa. Pōhu Te Kawa. Who's this star? The people who have died. Right. We're going to sing our waiata. Ready? It goes like this. I'll sing a line and you sing it after me. Matariki. Te whaia, tupuanuku, tupuarangi, waipunarangi, waiti, waita, ururangi, hiwaiterangi, Pōhu Te Kawa, Nā whetu Matariki. Right, now can you hold your star, and when we sing your star, you're going to hold it up, okay? Just hold it up. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to sing it and you echo it, and I'll be behind you and reminding you it's your turn to put it up. Are we ready? Right. Matariki. Te whaia, tupuanuku, tupuarangi, waipunarangi, waiti, waita, ururangi, hiwaiterangi, Pōhu Te Kawa, Nā whetu Matariki. Oh, paki paki mō rātou.